Let's talk about policy, because this curfew is something we can really talk about. I mean, 10 p.m. curfew for hospitality venues, it's crushing them. I've just been talking to a bunch of entrepreneurs in the industry, and their revenues are down 60% since the 10 p.m. curfew. One of the members of SAGE, which is the advisory panel that advises Boris, Professor Graham Medley, said it was never even discussed. Never discussed with the panel before it was put as a decree across this entire country. It's crushing these businesses. Hospitality does 140 billion pounds of business, must have knock-on effects to taxi drivers. How do you feel about this curfew?
We had very old-fashioned licensing laws in this country. You will have been here 20 years, you'll just remember them, where the pubs had to shut at 11 o'clock. Yeah. And the reason we scrapped those licensing laws is because at 11 o'clock, everybody was coming out onto the streets, and it was all the getting home and the problems. So quite sensibly, they extended the hours to let people out at different times. Well, we seem to have forgotten that. And this current 10 p.m. curfew is basically ludicrous. I mean, any look on social media, just go out and have a look what's happening. Tens of thousands of people all coming onto the street at 10 o'clock at night. Many of them are then deciding, well, we'll carry the evening on back at my place or your place, something they wouldn't have done normally. So it's probably hindering the COVID spread more than anything. Now, the only interesting bit about it is I heard Sadiq Khan this morning, the Mayor of London, he's criticising the policy. I know that Andy Burnham, the Mayor of Greater Manchester, and I also understand that the Mayor of Liverpool has done the same. The big city mayors are telling the government, this isn't working. So what should have happened with Matt Hancock's announcement this morning, he should have announced, look, you're quite right, we've reviewed this, it's not working, we've made a mistake, and changed the policy accordingly. But the big error here is make a mistake. Everyone can make mistakes. Might have been a good idea, it hasn't worked, stop it, but they don't. They just keep pushing on with the same ideas, repeating the same mistakes. And this is a fine example.
Yeah, and we've seen that for the last 5 months. I honestly would give everyone a pass if they just said, look, this was a pandemic, 100 years, we made some bad decisions, but we're going to reset now. Going forward, it's just going to be science-based, and you can choose next year to reelect me or not, but I'm just going to do the right thing. I would love that. I would forgive everyone. But again, like you said, all the policies seem to be based on continuing with previous incorrect policies or covering up problems in previous policies. So now it's all test cases, and yet we're not seeing the hospitalizations or the deaths. The deaths that we do see are a fraction of what they are for cancer and smoking every day. Literally 1/10, 1/20th, 1/30th of smoking related or COVID related. Why aren't they locked down tobacco stores? They're not going to, of course not. And yet this is the national crisis. It doesn't seem to have any sense. It's not based in science. It's not proportionate with the danger. And there's no leadership. You mentioned the Mayor of London. He was quite silent, I found, until the Mayor of Manchester, Liverpool, and Leeds started saying break the curfew. All I get from the Mayor of London is a campaign of fear, stay home, put a mask on, and, don't do anything because, Armageddon is coming, and it doesn't help us get London back to work. Offices are at 13% capacity. You can't run a city like that. That's less than half of the rest of Europe.
I went to a meeting last week for a confederation of London business. It was a dinner. I mean, when the last one you went to them. And there was about 80 people there. It was all trying to hold socially distance on the roof of a hotel. And a lot of these businesses are now saying that we've got to stop this. It's crazy. It's killing London. It's killing business. The effects of the pandemic are going to be minuscule compared to the number of deaths and all the social problems that are going to come with the collapse of the economy. Unemployment, as you know, causes mental health problems and all the stuff that goes with it. That's going to have a massive knock-on for years. The number of people that are dying as a result of not getting their cancer treatments, who are going to die. A friend of mine is an eye surgeon, literally around the corner here at Moorfields, and he's sitting there watching people go blind because he wasn't allowed to operate on them. And he was quite critical, in fact, insofar as we were clapping for the NHS. And he said they were clapping for me sitting there watching people go blind. And I think that just about sums it up. What they should have done, they should have locked down the care homes, they should have locked down the hospitals, they should have had hot hospitals for COVID, cool hospitals for not. Anyone who gets ill gets transferred. It should have been much more evidence-based, it should have been much more logistical. And we've got to accept there is an element of risk. We've been doing it that way, but no more so than the way we've done it. And the big error is the current politicians, instead of saying, look, we've made a mistake, this is what we're going to do, they won't do that. No one will admit they've made a mistake. And so we just keep doing what we've always done, repeating the same mistakes.